This plan also strives to manage growth in order to preserve and optimize the quality of life in the community. I do believe that the Robinsons have the right to sell their family's legacy to the highest bidder, but not at the expense of this region's quality of life. There is no way a development of this size will improve anyone's quality of life. This proposed cluster development is nothing but irresponsible, and how much does this community need to suffer to make sure one family is taken care of? There are many federal, state, and county dollars available to the township in addition to the numerous conservation organizations who are eager to preserve this historic land. For more than 4 years, we have discussed at length the damage and havoc of this proposed development. Sure, Toll Brothers agreed to put in an access road to alleviate the strain on 202, but is that really going to help an intersection that already has PennDOT's F rating? Traffic congestion aside, has Toll Brothers really illustrated how this is going to improve, not even impact, local stormwater management, water quality, or general pollution? How about the strain on our emergency services and local schools? We already heard from Dr. Scanlon a while ago that the Westchester School District has its hands tied on increasing taxes beyond a certain percentage each year. So are classroom pods for overflowing classrooms really what's best for our community? As a Westtown Township resident and someone who has attended almost all of these hearings, Part 1 and Part 2, I'm here tonight to implore the supervisors to turn down this application. As far as I can see, after so many meetings, Toll Brothers still has not met the burden of proof on all the conditions the Planning Commission put forth. Again, I'm not saying that Crebilly Farm can't be developed, but even with the minor alterations in the second application, it will surely cause more harm than good. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Susan Mutter. I live on Jacqueline Drive in Westtown Township. I would like to strongly encourage the supervisors and members of our community to take a drive by the Toll Brothers project that is underway right now, just a little over a mile from Crebilly Farm. They've named it Darlington Ridge. It was once also a beautiful, historic farm and is now completely unrecognizable. One of the things that has been discussed over the years with regard to the proposed development by Toll of Crebilly is the need to preserve the historic view sheds, which have been enjoyed by residents of Chester County for generations and which contribute greatly to our quality of life. Well, if you take that drive down Teague Road and or Lenape Road, see for yourself the unbroken monolithic wall of enormous cluster homes which block the view of trees, land, even the sky. This is a sample of Toll's disregard for preserving the natural beauty of our Chester County landscape within less than 2 miles of Crebilly. Please vote no to the desecration of the historical and natural treasure that is Crebilly Farm. Once this sacred land is bulldozed and paved over, it will never be the same. Our chance to preserve this revolutionary battlefield will be lost, and our quality of life will be forever diminished. Thank you very much.
Hi, Richard Hurst, 816 Serpentine Drive. I would like to ask both the Robinson family and the township to take a step back. Can we please think about the future as we consider this issue? I think most people are so involved in the present that we forget what is important. How will this decision affect our children and our children's children? We know how Toll Brothers sees the future: more houses, more development, more money. It's fine. That's their business, that's what keeps them going. But what do we as a township, as a society, consider? Another development, a pristine land divided into cookie-cutter lots and roads. This section of land is the last significant piece of open space in Westtown Township. Think about that. The last piece. We need to think about the future. How can we leave this world a better place than how we found it? It took 200 years to build the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. That's thinking of the future. How can we think of the future? By getting together and talking. The surrounding townships and the Robinson family need to talk. Do we want a development that will destroy their open space? Or the Robinson family Westtown Wildlife Preserve? This has a nice ring to it. How would you like to hear people say 20 years from now, oh, aren't those 300 houses beautiful? Or, look at this beautiful preserve that people were so smart to preserve and protect. Thank goodness we have this open land for all to enjoy. Take away all the reasons to develop it by coming together and preserving it. There will always be another piece of property that Toll Brothers can develop. Preserve this beautiful piece of land for prosperity. Please, get together and talk about this with the future in mind, with our children in mind. There's a proverb that reads, a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Please, Robinson family, township leaders, do the right thing. Get together and talk and end this development nonsense.
I'm Catherine Coleman. I live in the borough of Westchester. I've been attending hearings, this hearing, I don't think I've missed one, going back 3 years or so. I've also attended hearings in 4 townships, so all the times there's I'm a historian, every time there's a development going up, I usually try to research it, go to the preservation, go to trying to stop the development. And I'm always struck by, no matter what size the development is, the impact is always downplayed by the developer. We have the same words, like the traffic would not be significantly increased. We have buzzwords like clustering. We'll have bike trails, that's a good trade-off. We'll have drip irrigation, which is supposed to be better than whatever regular sewer, but anyway. In this case, we actually have a new term, which is really remarkable to me. It's called battlefield swath. I'm sure the soldiers and the Hessians that came over on September 11, 1777, they really stayed close into that swath and tried to keep themselves from being killed from over the way when Sandy Hollow Park is now, which incidentally was a previous Toll Brother development. I don't know if they did the final, but they did the agreement with the township there to save so-called 52 acres for Sandy Hollow Park. And that's like a drop in the bucket compared to Gettysburg.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
So,
I just can't hear you.
okay, so, well, we're supposedly preserving the bloodiest and longest battlefield in the American Revolution. I want to just read to you also the Pennsylvania, we all know it has a unique Commonwealth, environmental rights amendment, and you probably always hear it as we have the right for clean air, pure water, and the preservation of natural, scenic, historic. But I also want to say that also it includes the aesthetic values of the environment. And any project that Toll Brothers does, no matter what it is, for aesthetics is terrible, as we know, and there's no way that they can ever develop this, keeping the battlefield swath or whatever. There's no way. They have a history of just ruining any kind of landscape, changing the landscape, so it's just another Toll colony. So, in fact, I can give you numerous examples. But one of them is another battlefield site. It's in Eagle, which is now called Chester Springs, but if you know what Eagle Tavern is, it's called Byers Station, and I brought this up before. In fact, actually, I should say this amendment was passed in 1971 and has been changed, but I've looked up different studies, and one was the Commonwealth versus National Gettysburg. They went in to build a tower, and they agreed that the Commonwealth, the state, should be given the power to be able to keep an aesthetic property, an historic property. So when you have a property This was where General Wayne has been documented. In fact, Toll Brothers had to pay someone to document, do the history of the resource thing, and it was where General Wayne went after the Paley massacre. That was a nighttime massacre. He went up towards Yellow Springs, and he stayed because it was a childhood home, and according to historian McGuire, the whole troops were so shocked of being, escaping a night attack for British and being baited, that they wanted to find some secure place. And this is where you see an aerial view of the former barn that was there. There was part dating back, a section of it dated back to 1777. It's completely gone. And, this is called Byers Station, and this is just one example of another American Revolution site that is completely unrecognizable. And the house that's where the headquarters were, where General Wayne stayed, the house is pretty much unchanged. It was never expanded. The Ewing family kept it as a farmhouse. It's been a Toll Brothers office since 2002, and there's all sorts of tractors around it. And basically, it's completely ruined the whole landscape. So even if they say they're going to try to preserve historic property or convert the barn, the barn and Ewing property, it's just like a pool, and it might as well be a shell. It doesn't even look like a barn. So they just are incapable of restoring historic properties, saving any kind of battlefield swath. And I really urge the Board of Supervisors, please say no to this development. Thank you.
Benjamin Waterhouse, 910 Tyson Drive. So I've lived in Westtown Township my entire life, and it's been really sad to see all of the new developments crop up. Most recently, Ruston Walk, literally right there. And yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I just think about Crebilly Farm and where, when the pandemic first hit, I would take bike rides, and the main place where I would go would be Pleasant Grove and New, and then 926, specifically because I could bike around Crebilly Farm, and if I went at sunset, I could watch the sunset. If I did an early morning one, I could watch the sunrise, and it really saddens me to know that there are those who don't want this preserved, who don't recognize the beauty of the land. And in terms of offering ways forward, I mean, really, none of us have offered true ways forward, but my envisionment for this land would be more Westchester University buying it and turning it into a sustainable agriculture program. I've talked to Noah about this, but it sounds like a good idea, right? Thank you. I don't really have much new to offer on this, but I would just like to say I've yet to talk to someone my age. When people talk about children and children's, hello, I think I might be the only one of us here, but I'll speak for us. I have yet to talk to someone my age who's actually thought that Crebilly Farm specifically would be a good idea, or just any more new developments in general. Come on. But yes, I implore the Board of Supervisors, please vote no on the conditional use application.
Mr. Spackman, before you begin, I just want to ask the board, it's about almost 8:40. You want to take a break at this moment? All right, so I apologize, but we're going to take about a 7 or 8 minute break, give our court reporter a chance to breathe.
It gives me a chance to warm up, right?
We'll off the record.